Hello everyone. Right, you can all stop chatting, having your side hustle chat in the sidebar there, because we're here. Hello. And I'm with Charlie Veniga-Garrett tonight, and I'm so excited to be talking to Charlie. I've got to know Charlie over the years through Kent Creatives, I think, wasn't it, that I got to know you? And yeah, no, it's lovely. So as usual, as I say, we're broadcasting here live on Crowdcast, and we will be live streaming onto, I'm just checking my live stream to make sure that happens. If it doesn't restream for some reason, which is looking like it's not restreaming for some reason, which I don't know why, don't worry, we will upload the film to YouTube and Facebook afterwards. Sometimes this happens. I'm not sure why that's happening, but we are on everywhere, are we? We are on everywhere. Great. Showing up on Restream. That's great. So anyone who's watching us on Facebook Live, brilliant. Pop your questions into the Ask a Question area. Anyone watching on YouTube, again, pop your question in the comments, and Sophie will bring them on over to us. Just not showing me on Restream that it's playing across all platforms today. That's very odd, isn't it? Don't know why. So yeah. Today we're going to be chatting to Charlie, and Charlie is predominantly glass, but you will see a painting behind her. We're going to talk about that in a minute. First of all, I'm going to show you Charlie's page in the Pure magazine, so you can see where to contact her, because I'm sure you're going to absolutely love her work. So this is a little display of her work, and I'm sure you're going to want to contact her. So here's all her contact details. Here you are, charlienoelglass@gmail.com. And that's the website. And then we've got Facebook, we've got Twitter, and we've got Instagram. And all of this beautiful work you've actually got with you, haven't you, Charlie?
I have, yeah.
All around you. I'm going to take my jacket off. It's really warm today, isn't it?
It's been lovely today.
Gorgeous day. So I'm wearing a dress.
Woo!
I know.
Gosh, you have legs.
I have. Oh, don't talk about that. I've shown my knees today. So yeah, better take my jacket off. I was getting it. So we're going to talk all about this gorgeous work that we can see in the Pure magazine here. And much, much more. So yeah, if you're inspired and you want to buy any of Charlie's work, then that's how you contact her. And you can find the magazine on the Pure website under Art360 and then read. So I'm going to hand the stage over to Charlie.
Lordy.
Big moment. And let's kick off really, because I think it'd be really good to set the scene. If you can give us a bit of your backstory, how you came to art, your family background, and how, what inspired you to come to art in the first place.
So my trade is I'm a qualified French polisher. I have Sitting Gills qualifications in French polishing. I was very fortunate that a hotel in London took me on as a trainee, and they trained me up, sent me to college. But my supervisor was also a French polisher, so he taught me the old way. And it didn't, I had to earn my stripes for them to actually say to me what was what. So some of the secret stuff I had to learn, and it took time for him to trust me to give me those secret recipes. I then, after 5 years, moved to another hotel. Then I moved back to the first one because it had closed for refurb and was going to be reopening. And then I decided after 3 years, after being with the second hotel again, I'd go freelance. And then I decided, well, it's difficult. I'm a female in a male industry. I need to kind of be a little bit more than just a French polisher. So I learned to do sign writing. I learned to be a gilder. I learned to do decorative effects. So that was graining, marbling, trompe-l'oeil, mural work. And then I decided, okay, I needed to move back from London back to Rochester. So I did do. And then 9/11 happened and I had no work. So I decided, right, okay, I need to kind of find something that I could do that I was passionate about. And I didn't know what it was. So I went to adult education in Rochester. And some of you may know my tutor. His name is Nick Tidman. And he taught me. And then I said, oh, Nick, I really want to do something else, but I don't know what it is. And he said, oh, you need to go speak to Richard Kerridge at CIAD, Kent Institute of Art and Design. So I did. And Richard said, oh, you need to come and do the Professional Development Award, which I did with Nick, Richard, and another tutor called Mike Tapenard. And I had the best time. And I thought, oh, this is really good. But I still need to find what I'm looking for. And they said, oh, look, do the foundation degree, then do the BA, and you might at that end find what it is you want. Unfortunately for me, the college changed and became UCCA, and with that they changed the tutors, and that tutor didn't like me. I did my foundation degree, then did my BA, and he still didn't like me. He told me I was never going to be anything. I was not going to be any good at anything. I wasn't going to be an artist. I had no standard. My work was rubbish. And basically, he couldn't have done any more to discredit me and make me feel worthless.
Yes, absolutely horrifying, Charlie.
Yeah,
that anyone could actually stand and say that to another human being.
He did, and his words for me was, if I could have failed you for your BA, I would have done, but I didn't want you to look bad on my paperwork. And so my mum's nickname for me was Child. So when I was doing from foundation to the BA, she said, oh, Child, just give it up, because I used to cry. I was so distraught. I'd worked so hard, and yet for me, it was, I didn't want to let him win. And it was about not letting him win. And I said, but the thing is, if I let him win, then he will do it to somebody else knowing that he can win. And I'm not doing that. And she said, yeah, but you can't keep going on like this. And I said, no, I'll do the BA and I'll get there. And I did, through determination, through gritted teeth. I just cry afterwards. And then,
but we mustn't let that go, Charlie. That's just absolutely unacceptable behaviour by anyone. And someone said down here that he should have been reported, Annie, and he absolutely should have been reported for that behaviour. It's very fortunate that you have the personality, a bit like me, post-traumatic growth. If someone traumatizes me, I'm all over it. I'm over it. I'm after it.
Yeah.
Everybody reacts like that. That could have literally ruined someone's life.
Yeah. My late grandma used to say, it's okay, because karma always comes and bites you on the backside. Yeah, and I'd go, okay, right, you will get it. And I'm not doing it. And somebody did say to me, report him. And I said, no, because it's better for me to just leave and finish what I need to do and somebody else to do it. And then he'll think, oh, she is fine because I did get better of her. Well, no, he didn't, because
your response is completely up to you. Yeah. In your hands, your response. No one can tell you what the right and wrong response is to that kind of behavior. That's completely down to you to make your own decision for you. But yeah, that's, it horrifies me to hear that goes on in the modern day, that someone thinks that's acceptable to behave that way. Well, really massive credit to you, Charlie, for keeping going and not letting that stop you, because it clearly didn't stop you.
No, it didn't. I mean, I wanted to do glass, and I asked him to transfer me to Farnham to do glass blowing, and he said, oh, you're always going on about glass, he said. And he said, in any case, he said, you're not any good, so you wouldn't be any good at that anyway. And I do chuckle when I make things, because I'm like, yeah, I'm not good at anything, but yeah, I can make glass quite fine. Thank you.
Very, very good. You're a very, very accomplished artist, and I hope he hangs his head in shame if he's still around today.
Yeah, he is, and he's still teaching.
Oh, crikey. That is really quite scary, quite a scary thought. But well done, you. You make your own decisions.
Yeah,
and
I
you
did.
Move forward in your life and use it to empower you.
Yeah, I did. And the thing is, I don't know how it happened, and I don't know whether it was a little old dear. So that's my nickname for my mum. So I'm not sure if she did it or whether in my midst of being so distraught I did it. But I got a leaflet through saying taste a weekend for glass, and I was like, so I went and saw her and I said, look, I've got this. And she said, fine, right, pay for it now, get on the phone, just pay for it now. So she paid for me to do it, and within probably about half an hour I knew that was what I wanted to do. And this is the first piece that I ever made.
Oh wow.
And I took 5 minutes to do it. And you're supposed to do like aperture, so you're supposed to make sure that the glasses marry. And I didn't. I just put it together. And my tutor, Erna, she's like, Charlie, do you want to put the aperture together? And I said, no. She said, do you want to change anything? I said, no. She said, but Charlie, once it goes in the kiln, I can't do anything about it. And I said, that's fine. She said, you've only taken 5 minutes. I really think you need to, check. And I went, no, I'm fine with that, thanks. And she got it out the kiln, and she said, for 5 minutes work, she said, you didn't want to change your view, and you didn't want to change me saying to you to change it. You just stuck with your guns. And I said, that's because I knew what I wanted.
And did it come out exactly as you had envisaged it in your mind?
Yeah, I wanted that to be lumpy. I wanted to have a little bit of texture. I would have liked to have more bubbles in, but that's just to do with the firing schedule. But yeah, it was like, because these are all offcuts, and I just put them together, and I thought, yeah, I kind of like that curvy bit. It's got a little bit of a bump to it. It's all not flat. You've got a little bit of three-dimensional, and I like to be able to feel, and that just felt right.
It's got a very modern feel about it as well.
Yeah, for my first piece, which I didn't know anything about glass, I didn't understand anything about it. That was the very first piece of me just not even knowing how to cut. I just went, and that was it. I was happy.
How did it feel when you got that first piece out of the kiln? How did that?
Well, Erna stood for ages holding it in the air, like looking, like discussing how the light came through and everything. And I was just like, yeah, I'm kind of cool with that. That's fine.
Yeah, it's got a bit of a rough feel about it, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it's just always been a special piece because it's my first piece. So,
not for sale then.
No, not for sale.
We'll come on to that's an in joke, everyone. We'll come on to the not for sale story during the interview. And I was saying not for sale, but you could make an NFT out of it. NFTs being the future of anything that's not for sale.
Not for sale. Not for sale. Yeah, no. Bless.
Exactly. Stephanie's saying it's much better than her first piece that she ever made.
Oh, thank you.
Stephanie has one of our other.
Stephanie knows I've got kiln envy and studio envy for Stephanie. She already knows that, though. I've already told her.
So that's your kiln up on the right. Talk to us about your kiln there.
So this is a different kiln. So if you saw Stephanie's video, Stephanie's got a top loader, so hers opens up like that. My big kiln isn't as big. Internal measurements would be like 55 by 55 centimeters is my shelf, and mine's square, and mine opens front loader. So mine's a front loader, the door opens that way. This kiln is different. This is called a vitrograph kiln, and basically, I can't do that with one hand. I know it's kind of dark. I'm hoping you can see, but this is a stainless steel pot, and I put the glass inside, and then it will come out through there. So I'll show you. I'm just going to move the camera, so I'll put a little thingy on it so you don't get seasick.
Very good, Charlie. So that we don't all start to feel very unwell as we move around the studio. Oh.
Right, so hopefully you can see that okay.
Yes.
So this is so basically the pot I'd take these 2 shelves out and then put the pot inside. And then if I go underneath, this is a bung, and you normally remove the bung, and then that pot would be inside, and then the glass would pull out like that.
Wow.
And so it would be like that.
Yes. And how do you get it out of the metal container afterwards then?
Basically you hit it with a hammer.
With a hammer? Oh, crikey. So you hit and then you're deliberately breaking the glass, are you?
Yep. So you're breaking the glass, yeah.
So you're making that glass deliberately to break it.
Yeah. Yeah. So basically, after the pot's emptied, you get that residue at the very, very bottom, and then to get the residue out, you just hit it with a hammer.
Okay.
So you've got. So this is a cane, which I'm hoping you can see all right.
Yes.
And so a cane is like a candy cane. And then you get.
So that's what comes out of that hole.
Yeah. So, and then this, you can have them. So this one is, I don't know how. It's that long.
What's the raw? So you're putting in raw glass. How does that look like? The raw glass you're putting in the pot?
That would just be whatever. So that would be like so if I wanted to, I could cut that up and put that in the pot.
Right, and then that would come out as drip through, and it would make a candy.
Yeah, I take it to
break up again.
Depending on what. So glass can either be hard or soft. So it depends on what the soft point is for the glass. Will be either. Most of the time, I take it to about 840, and I hold it at 840 for about 4 hours, so that I can empty the pot out. Now, when you start pulling, you can't go to the toilet, you can't eat, you can't answer the phone, you can't go anywhere, because you have to stay with the kiln. So it's a case of you do everything you need to do before the pot's ready to pull.
And then you literally pull it physically, do you?
Yeah, I should have brought the stuff, actually, I forgot. But you can turn them. Wow. You can pull them all out. I wear I've got gloves, and I have gauntlets as well that I have, and I have a face shield, only because, you know, when my mum gave birth to me, I had 2 arms, 2 hands, and a face, and with hot glass it can do whatever it likes, and I would really like to keep this.
Yeah, keep them. Keep all the bits that you were born with. Yeah.
But yeah, you can do different shapes, and you can do thicknesses as well.
So that's a completely different kiln to the ones that Stephanie uses, because Stephanie is using hers like a potter would to fire her glasses, whereas you're using this vitreous kiln, did you call it?
It's a vitrograph kiln.
Vitrograph kiln, to actually create shards of glass that you can shape a bit like a glass blower.
Yeah, it's the nearest a kiln formed artist. So that's what myself and Stephanie would be, as a kiln formed artist, because all our glass is formed in the kiln. This is the nearest we can get to be a glass blower without being a glass blower. So these, if you pull it really thin, these would become like stringers. So like thin pieces of spaghetti. Yeah, that's how thin you can pull them. If you wanted to make it into like a corkscrew, then there's various ways you can do it, and you can wrap the glass around, and then you pull it off, and then it'll be like a corkscrew, and then you can do that in a piece of glass as well, so that you've got a bit more movement in there. So if you want movement, and if you want to be more expressionist with it all, you can do that.
Do all of these like bits that you're making to then break up again to form into the shapes, like you were saying.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can do. And then this is the piece. Hopefully, hold it still.
Yes, that's lots and lots of ends, isn't it?
So this is this piece.
Yes.
Chopped up. So you chop them up into about 20 centimeters or 10 centimeters or 30, depending on how thick you want it. Well, that's how thick this piece is.
Yes. And how do you form? So do you have a former then, like you would in pottery?
This isn't, no, this is freefold. So basically, it's a collar that sits on shelf. They call shelf furniture. So it's just like little pillars. And it sits up there like that, and it's got a hole in it, and there's nothing, and then that falls through the hole.
My brain's not really computing that. I'm no. I'd have to see that. I'd have to see how that works. I'm like, how can you get a bowl shape if you've not got anything to form a bowl shape, and you've got lots of individual little bits of
because the collar is round, the hole is round.
Yeah.
So it will fall like that.
Okay, and then it'll just fall into
So basically, when it's falling, you decide how thick, what the depth is.
Yes.
What the shape is like. So basically, when it's falling, I watch it. So it can take anything from.
And this is inside a really hot kiln.
Yeah. So I open my kiln that's in the studio. I open it about a hair's breadth. I mean, because the kiln's glowing, so you only do it like a hair's breadth, and you open it up like that, and you have a little look inside, and you think, no, you need to just keep it going for a bit longer. So I normally it can be anything from half an hour to maybe 3 or 4 hours. It depends on the thickness. It depends on the glass itself. It depends on so many things. So I usually just take up some drink and some sandwiches, and then just go and sit there.
And kind of guard your kiln.
Yeah, because the thing is, the moment you decide, oh, that's the moment you want to go to the toilet or something, all of a sudden it will just drop.
And that's it. And it's over.
It can be, yeah.
Oh, goodness.
You can take a hammer and smash it and do it into something else if you like.
Have you not got a window?
No, unfortunately, I don't have a window. Some people will have they'll have bungs, so they can take the bung out and then they can peek through the bung. I don't have that. So, and some people will have a heat sensitive camera that will go inside. I don't have that.
That's just incredible. It's the Jeopardy thing again. You artists, honestly, the amount of Jeopardy.
But the thing is, though, it's about all being. I mean, it's like Christmas Day though, because the thing is, when the kiln's still hot, so I switch off that segment when I've got to that shape.
Yes.
Okay, but the kiln is still hot. So the kiln is still at its optimal temperature, and it's not cooling down. So then that can move more. So you have to know when to judge it, to switch that segment off, and then put it on its cooling cycle. And you just and then when you do that, you can't open the kiln again. You have to leave it, and then you've got to wait for it to be completely cold. So it might be that next day, it might be the day after. It depends on what your schedule is. And then you have to open it up, and then you open it up with like closed eyes, and you open it carefully, and then you go, and you go, oh, it's okay, it's all right, it's fine, it's happy.
Broken, because I suppose during that whole, again, more Jeopardy during the cooling phase, it could break, couldn't it? Yeah,
I mean, it could, anything could happen, you know, if you didn't wait for the cooling, and it's not annealed properly, then, you know, and it could get thermal shocking, and then it will shatter anyway.
Thermal shock. What's thermal shock?
So thermal shock is if, say, for instance, you've had a Pyrex dish and you're cooking your roast potatoes on a Sunday, and you've taken the Pyrex dish out of the oven, you've taken the roast potatoes off, and without thinking, you've put that in the sink, and you've opened the cold tap, and the cold tap hits the Pyrex dish and then explodes. That is what thermal shock is. Yeah. That's the best way to explain it.
Yeah, no, that's really good. I would be very wary of my roast potatoes in all future times. You don't want to give your roasties on a Sunday thermal shock, do you?
No, you see, you've taken the roast potatoes out. It's just because you've just put the cold to the hot.
Yeah.
And that's too much of a change. And then it's just.
Yeah. So that bowl, how much do you sell those bowls for? I'm thinking £1 million with the amount of energy involved.
Well, no, these ones are normally about £450.
They're beautiful. And do you do them in? You make from your other kiln. You make all the things in all different colours.
Yeah. So you make. So I would. It depends on what colour you want. You know, if it's a commission and stuff like that, I can do different colours. Because it's really hard for you to see. I'm going to try maybe that way.
That's got bits that are see-through.
Yeah, so this is Marini. So this isn't the same as this one. This is a cane and it's twisted.
Yes.
But Marini is, this one's not really a very good one. I don't think, I can't really show you that one. It's probably better on here. So there's layers of different coloured glass.
Yes.
So that is the glass that I load up. So if I decide, right, okay, I would like a green centre, then clear, then a light blue, then a dark blue, then another green, then a clear, then that's how I load it, because it pulls from the centre. Yeah. So it pulls from the top down. And then so it'll pull that way and in.
So that's what you'll get in the stick in your candy cane stick once you've put
so that's, you don't twist these ones.
You just pull. I
would pull them so they come Marini. Marini is like having the different rings of coloured glass. Whereas the candy cane, the cane one is it's twisted. So the colours itself gets twisted together and you see them on the outside, whereas the Marini you see on the inside.
I get that. I see that. That's stunning. So something like that is like about £400 for a bowl that size.
Yeah, 400, depends. If it's a bit bigger, then it might be 5, because obviously you've got more glass and you've got more, it's taken more time to actually do that section. Well, also the thing is, so it has a collar on it, so the glass, there's a collar of glass, and you then have to cut that off. Right. Then you have to grind the very top, and then you have to polish it. So there's a lot of work that goes into something like that.
Absolutely. It is like seaside rock. That's what I thought. I was thinking it's like seaside rock. Yeah. You know, you could put, it'd be very difficult to put words in there though.
No, they do. I mean, a lot of artists that specialise in doing Marini they'll do like leaves, they'll do a poppy, they'll do, they might do a letter in there. It's about loading the glass up, and it's about how you load up and about what you do with the glass as to the outcome. So you have to kind of work backwards to see the end result. So you have to kind of go, right, that's what I want. And then you do all your steps back, and that's where you start.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, goodness gracious, that takes quite a lot of brain power. Yeah. Charlie, you're stupid. That man told you.
I know. I'll never be any good at anything.
You'll never be any good at anything. And look at you. I mean, goodness gracious, that is just... my brain can't. My brain literally can't. I just simply can't. It's almost as bad as an NFT. So you do the bowls, and this is using these Marini, as you said, but then you also do flat pieces, don't you? So you've got a flat piece to your left side of you.
Yeah. So this is which one? This one.
The plaque that's up on the.
Oh, this one here.
Yeah.
I'll just turn. Can you see that one?
Yeah. So talk about how you would create that, because I'm getting a bit of an idea about it now.
Right. So this is the back of it is 2 pieces of glass, and that's 6 ml of glass. And then so this image was originally a picture one of my family took. They live in Trumbull in Connecticut. And I said to her, oh, could you give me permission? She said, you can have whatever you like. So I said, okay, fine. So the sky, I painted 5 times. So each time I paint, I fire. So, and the reason is because I want that depth of field. I don't want it to be flat. I need to be able to, for the sky to have that movement. It's really important to me to have movement and to see different parts, because when you look at the sky, it may be blue over here, it could be black over there, it could be grey over here. It's all different, so it's not flat. So then don't make it flat.
And what kind of paint do you use?
So this particular paint that I use, where I go for my glass, the owner made this paint. It's called Colour Line, and I'm a real champion of it because I use it constantly with everything. And then I just tell him, I get on really well with the owners, and I say, Harry, can I have a different colour? He says, no, you can only have what I've made. I was like, oh, but I really want a really nice silver, but he won't make me it. But I do try. So I use colour lines. So there are different blues. There's a white in there. There's a little bit there's greys. I try different things, but I do it. So when I used to do decorative effects, I used to be able to twist my wrist, and I don't know how I do it, but I can twist it in a certain way to get a movement. So I do that for that.
You can your background in trompe l'oeil definitely comes.
Yeah.
This, can't you?
And then the yellow, there's 3 different yellows and white and a little bit of grey. So I put grey at the back. The orange is the same. I've got a red in there, and I've got an orange, and then I've got some little some powder as well. I sifted on just because I didn't want it to be flat. I needed that depth of field in there.
Powder. What's this powder you speak of?
So powder. So with glass, you get sheets. So pretend that's like a sheet.
Yeah.
Forget about the colouring, but that would be a sheet. Then you get powder, which is either frit, so it's bigger chunks of glass, medium, fine, and then powder. So each colour generally will have 4 or 5 different ways you can buy it. So you can buy it as in sheet form, you can buy it as in powder, frit, which you've got the different grades. You can buy confetti, which is really thin pieces of glass. You can buy noodles, which are like where I go, they call them ribbons. I call them noodles, but they are flat pieces of glass, like a piece of pasta. And then the stringers are like thin pieces of pasta. So you get 0.5, 1 mil, 2 mil of the stringers, and you get them in most colours, not all. You get them in that range. And you buy these all from a place, you're saying?
Yeah. The guy made.
Yeah. So I've got a place. My place is down in Rochester, Medway City Estate. But the guy who makes the paints and stuff, he actually lives in Zurich, and he makes them in Zurich. But yeah, because they have a place in Zurich that they do glass, and they have Rochester. And then the trees themselves are just black glass, which I've just shaped. But these pieces here, all the branches, I used a propane and oxygen flame. So you get flame workers that use that, and you basically, it would be a flame like this. It's kind of a blue flame, and then you put the glass over. You have to wear special eye protection, otherwise you can burn your eyes, and we don't want to do that. And then you twist it. So these took me 3 days to make all of the branches.
Wow.
And then to fire it, so the backing probably had maybe 6 firings. Then I put the branches on, the trees on, and then I fired that, and then I put the branches on, because the branches had to be fired at a different schedule, because I didn't want to lose all of what I made. Otherwise it would all melt into one, and it wouldn't have looked very nice, and I would have cried.
Yeah, we don't want any crying. No crying from Charlie. We need the face, the hands, and no crying.
And no crying, yeah.
No crying.
So yeah.
And where would that go? Would you normally frame that, or would that become a piece in a window? What would happen with that kind of piece?
That piece was it. I really wanted it for a wall piece, so you can get certain brackets to put them on, or you could frame it. I'd have to ask Bev if she would frame that. Bev would know, because she would be the one that has to do it, because it's
heavy, I should think.
It's heavy. Yeah, it is heavy.
So that would take some framing, but Bev would be the girl to talk to.
Yeah, I have had something framed, not by Bev, and I couldn't have brought it to show you because the frame's actually split. So and unfortunately the glass is stuck onto the backboard, so I can't show you.
No, that just inherently demonstrates the issue there, doesn't it? I mean, it would look amazing in a kitchen, wouldn't it, as like behind her.
Yeah, I mean, you could have it. I wouldn't have it as a splashback because you wouldn't be able to clean it, but up against, on a wall somewhere, just that maybe isn't, that's very plain, and that would be just a really nice pop of colour. But yeah, I had fun doing it. The only issue I had was at the time I was having problems with my heart, and I couldn't actually lift it and carry it. So where I go, they had to do that for me. They had to keep lifting it up and carrying it for me. So bless their hearts.
Yeah, and your heart. You're much better now.
Yeah,
not having those problems now. And we're getting a little glimpse of your poppy behind you as well.
Do you want me to move that slightly? I'll just.
So we're going from a flat piece, we've gone to a completely, and you had the bowl, which is, more domestic type of thing. And then you've got the wall piece, and now you've got a complete piece of sculpture here.
Yeah, so when I make them normally for other people, I put them on a copper pipe, and then you can either put this in the garden, so it can go in the garden, so you can put the copper into another copper pipe and then put that in the ground, or I make them I put the copper pipe into a base and I have it on a base, but because this one is mine, it actually sits in my bookcase. So, but yeah.
So talk to us about how you created that piece.
This is difficult because I'm not supposed to give out information on it because the artist. So sometimes when you do courses, the artist will say to you, please don't tell. So this particular artist has said that. So
just give us a little vague overview then.
It's got 5 pieces of glass that are, so you've got 3 different, then the black one as well, and it's very textured. I don't know if you can see the texture. So I put something underneath it to get that texture, because when the light hits the texture, it bounces off and reflects differently. But each time you do, so a lot of my work is one-offs. I don't repeat, and I don't care who you are or what you want or what you're going to sell me or what you're going to pay me. My philosophy is this: if you've bought something from me, it's because you liked it. If you've commissioned something, it's because there's a specific reason, and you don't want to walk into somebody else's house and see it. So I do one-offs, but the poppy is the only one that I don't do one-offs for. But every time I make it, it always comes out different. So it kind of still sits with my ethos. But it's just, I love it. It's just so special to me.
So you went to a class and someone showed you originally how to do it, and now you've orientated that into your own methodology.
Yeah, so I do quite a lot of so where the glass company, they get a lot of tutors mainly from the States. They do come from all over, but mainly from the States. They'll come over, and this guy is an American guy. So I went to learn to do this. I went to Taunton to learn to do this one. It's a bit of a journey and a bit of a trek for me, but it's worth it. It really is worth it. But yeah, you can do them in any colour as well.
Yeah,
so
saying, is it heavy? And I'm figuring not that heavy because you've been holding it for quite a while.
No.
It's stunning, absolutely stunning. And that's interesting how, you know, you go to, do you do lots of tutorials, or do you do lots of, you know, I know you experiment a lot yourself.
I used to do at least 2 a year because they're expensive, they're not cheap. You know, it can be up to £1,000 depending on who the artist is. When I first started, they were a lot cheaper because a lot of people weren't doing it, whereas more people are doing it now. And then you've got the travel has gone up, blah blah blah, and the accommodation. So yeah, it can be expensive. And the little old dear used to pay for my courses, but obviously she's no longer alive, so I have to pay myself, and kind of gets a little bit of expensive. You can't always do that.
Yeah. So
do you want me to show you the other piece down here?
Yeah, show us that piece. And then I thought what we'll do is we'll do some questions, and then it'd be really good to end on talking about the painting behind you.
Okay. So this is in the magazine. You can see in the magazine, I think it's laid like that. So this is called, there's 3 of them. There's 2 white like this, and then there's a blue one, if I can just balance.
Be careful now, it's glass, remember.
And then that's the blue that goes in the middle.
And you've created that for a specific reason?
It's because it's called the 3 C's. And I just decided that's what I will do. So we came out of, I'm not sure which lockdown it was, but we came out of lockdown, and we were allowed, because my kiln couldn't take this, I always rent the kiln at the glass company. And so I had a window of opportunity of 3 weeks so I could make the piece. And basically, if I kind of go like that, you should be able to see.
Yeah.
So
stunning.
These are all made with, they're called patties, so they're like big chunks of glass. But I wanted movement in it, so I put fine frit, and then I wanted some bubbles as well, so I made sure that I could get some bubbles in there as well. And that's all just to do with the scheduling of the firing. And the 3 C's is because this is how when I write Charlie, my C has a little bit on it, and that is the little bit, so that's why it's called the 3 C's.
So this is your signature piece, and the lovely thing is, and I think someone else talked about this earlier, was about commissioning yourself to make art. So you commissioned yourself to make
I did. I just got to find a way of doing a base, which I haven't. That's why it's still work in progress.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've got some questions here. What kind of glass do you use, Charlie? Is it bullseye or another glass? And presume you are choosing the colour, or do you use a colouring medium of some sort?
No, so I'm bullseye. I do have some spectrum because I had to have it for a project, but the spectrum lives in my office because they're not compatible with the bullseye, so that stays upstairs. I've got a very small amount of it, and it was just for a specific project, but all of my stuff is bullseye, and the paint is compatible with bullseye glass. Harry's made it, so it is compatible. And
Edith says, can you reuse the broken pieces?
Yeah. So glass is recyclable. So if, say, for instance, something breaks, then it's okay, no problem. You just put it in a box, and one day you might need that bit of coloured glass, and then you use it. So all I have in the studio is, so I don't eat sugar, so I have to wait for other people to eat sugar. So if we've got tins of shortbread biscuits or chocolate, I take the tins, and sometimes I'll actually specifically buy the tin for my husband, and he looks at the picture and goes, oh, we're keeping the tin, are we? Because some of the square tins are good for putting a whole, say this is a piece of glass, I can put the whole piece in there. That's fine. So I have them all, like, so I'll have the base one is called Tecta, so it's a clear. So I'll have texture ones, I might have blue, I might have green. I have them all segregated. So as I cut in, I put them on the side, and then I get different boxes, and then I'll do little mixtures. And sometimes if I've not got enough boxes, I will mix it, but then that's a bit of a problem for me when I just want one piece.
Yeah, so you need to go and buy more biscuits at that point.
Yeah, because I don't eat them, so it's...
Go and buy them for gifts and say, and can I have the tin back, please? So anyone out there who's got some tins,
I'm like, oh,
to have them
yeah, yeah, and ice cream containers as well. So he has to have ice cream, so I have to get it. So I look at the container and think, oh, that's really deep. I'll have that one.
He doesn't get to choose the flavour.
No, it depends on what the container's like.
Got to get your priorities right.
I don't eat it, so it's fine.
Yeah, raspberry ripple. No, sorry. Today you're not having that because the container wasn't the right.
No, yeah, exactly. You'll have to have vanilla because that container is much better. It's deeper.
Oh.
And no round containers because they're not good.
Oh, why aren't round containers good?
Because you can't put a whole piece in.
No, of course. And then Bev, and this is a question I had as well. How do you create the bubbles?
On which piece? On the 3Cs?
There's bubbles.
So sometimes I do. There is a dish that I've made before, which I don't. I first made it, and Mum was still alive then, and I showed it to her, and she said, "Oh, good, that would be good for potpourri," and took it. Which I actually, well, after she died, I gave it to my sister-in-law, which my niece has now got. But you trap them. It's trapping.
So so you
just trap it.
Trap the air in them. Fascinating. So we're going to close tonight on you telling us the story of this piece of artwork behind you, because I think it's in honor of your mum, and I think that's a really important story to tell. This was a transformative moment in your art journey, wasn't it?
Yeah. I'll just take the camera and show. Oh,
we're off again.
Yeah, we're off. Yeah. Can you see that? Is that right?
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Such amazing texture. What's that? Is it on canvas or is it on
No, it's canvas. It's oil on canvas.
Oil on canvas.
Yeah. So
because we've only seen the bottom half of the painting at the moment.
Tell me when.
Yeah, that's good. Good. Okay, so if you move back to where you were, because that's quite well positioned behind you, you can put the camera back down.
Okay.
I love the fact that you care about us and you're stopping us feeling ill.
Feeling seasick. You don't want to see you feeling seasick.
No, that would be a very bad day out.
Well, yeah, nobody wants that. So my mum died in 2013 in the November. I found her dead. And it had a really profound effect on me. I suffered really badly with depression. And then in the November of 2014, I had a really bad accident, and they were deciding whether to amputate my right foot or not because of the position it was in, without being graphic. And I was non-weight bearing for about 4 or 5 months and laying in bed. I wasn't doing anything. The depression was getting worse, and my counsellor said, "Oh, you should really do something creative." And I was like, I can't do glass. I'm on double crutches. I can't even lift a coffee cup. So what do you want me to do? And she said, well, maybe paint. And I was like what? And she said, well, find a way. And my sister-in-law was going to go to these classes with an artist friend of mine. And she said, well, come with me and I'll take you. Okay, so fine. She said, well, you need to bring a picture with you. And I was like, oh, okay. So I had a couple of images of stuff, and I do love trees and I do love waves. So I was like, okay, we don't know whether waves or trees. I'll take trees. So I took a little selection of different trees, and I said to John, who's the artist, I was like, I don't really know what to do, but I've got these. And he said, well, why don't you start putting things together? So, okay. I really didn't think too much about it, but I went with it because everyone was telling me I should do it. And I started. So the painting isn't painted with a brush. It's painted with 2 little palette knives, one that's about so big and one that's about that big. And John kept saying to me, you know, you really need to use a brush. And I was like, no, I don't want to. It's like, okay, it's fine. And I started to do it. So it actually represents, so the very dark bits here represent how I was feeling. I was very low. The world came to an end. At one stage, I did want to end my life. And the painting helped me because it made me remember that my parents taught me that I was very grounded, that I was a strong person. And so by doing all the texture and doing the trees, it made me understand that and made me believe. So believe was a really big word for my mum and dad, that you had to believe, you had to be happy, and you had to be you. And I wasn't any of those during this situation. And so I started to do it, and I was in a really dark place. And the more each step, I kind of came out of it a little bit more, a little bit more, and a little bit more. So this painting represents my journey that was in a dark place, where I didn't think there was anything to live for. And I didn't think that anybody would care about whether I was living or dying, really. They wouldn't be bothered. But this painting just taught me that actually, if I believe I can do it, I can do it. And I used to have dark days. I don't anymore. I just don't. I can deal with it better. But back then I couldn't. So every time I had a dark day, I'd look at the painting and go, right, okay, how far have you come? Look, see what you've achieved. Okay, you may not have achieved everything you had to do, but you've achieved something, so look at it. And it used to help me. In 2016, I think it was, or 2017, I'm not really sure what year it was, I rented a gallery in Horsebridge in Whitstable, Gallery 2, and I put the painting on, and I put a little sign on, and I said to my friend, I went, oh, but I don't want to sell it. And he said, that's okay, just put not for sale. Okay, fine. And I apologise to all the artists that have explained about gilet prints, but I didn't know and I didn't understand. A friend said, just get a couple of gilet prints, and if somebody wants to buy them, at least then, you know, you can sell that. Okay, so I did that, and a guy came in and said, oh, it's not for sale. And I said, no, it's not for sale. He said, oh, if I offer you £3,000, will you sell it to me? And I said, no, it's not for sale. He's like, oh, well, how much would it cost, you know, for it to be for sale? And I said, it's not for sale. So he went off, and a couple of hours later he came back and he said, have you reconsidered? And I said, no, it's not for sale. He said, well, you know, if I leave my details with you, when you consider it, would you let me buy it? And I said, no, it's not for sale. It will never be for sale. The painting is worth more to me because no one will ever understand my journey. Only I lived it, breathed it, ate it, slept or didn't sleep in my case, cried, which was a lot. This painting will go to my niece, which will then go to my great nephew, because whenever they've got troubles, I want them to look at that painting and go, you know what, I can achieve it, I can get there, just need to have a little bit of hope. And that's what it is. And it's called From Darkness to Red.
I wanted to bring myself up on the stage with you, not on my own.
Yay!
I think for everything you've said here, and you've demonstrated in your approach to your artwork and how you are resilient, that painting is something that everybody needs to, you know, your story and looking at that painting is something that everybody needs to really dwell on and really absorb the message there, because it is the power of the mind, isn't it? Mm-hmm. You know, it doesn't matter what other people say to us externally, it's what we believe about ourselves inside of ourselves. And there is always hope, and there is always another way. But sometimes we lose sight of that, and having something tangible that we can attach that hope to is really powerful and not for sale. That hope is not for sale, is it?
No. I mean,
the thing about that not for sale thing is how you price your artwork. Because if you'd sold it and then felt miserable, then you haven't sold it for the right price. And that's what we're always saying to people. Always do the acid test. Once you've priced your artwork in whatever methodology you choose to get there, whether you measure it in inches or you work out how much it cost you or how many hours it took you, whatever methodology you do to get to your base point, and then you think about your career stage, and then you think about, or you know, other people in the similar space to you and how much they're charging. Once you've done all of that, you must always still do the acid test of how will I feel if I've sold this for this price. And that's what you did, and there's no price on it. It's not for sale.
No. And then the thing is, though, I mean, if the old dear was still here, she'd have like looked at it and gone, you should have just sold it, child.
I know, but you feel so.
But if my dad was alive, my dad would have said, oh no, don't sell it.
Yeah, it's a very special painting, and it dances around behind you. It's got its own aura, hasn't it? It really has.
Yeah, it's funny because sometimes the light will shine on it and the whole thing will glisten, and there are other times where the light will shine on it and it looks really dull. And it just depends. I think sometimes it does depend on my mood.
It'll be picking up on your mood, absolutely. But that is the power of the mind, and it's really important to know that we can literally achieve anything we set our mind to. The only limiter on our success is ourselves.
Yeah, I mean, my parents were very they were very, a lot of the things they did, they were self-taught. They didn't go and learn to do various things, but their belief was always, you know, you have to believe, you have to have that hope. Sorry, the cat's just coming. Believe and always be happy. And they taught myself and my brother, always be you. So, you know, he's Roy, I'm Charlie, always be us, not be somebody else, not pretend to be someone else. Just be grounded.
Thing trying to pretend to be somebody else. No one, you shouldn't. Yeah. Always, that's true integrity, is live your own life and live true to you. And when you're living in alignment with yourself, you will be happy, and it will feel like you'll have the odd day where it doesn't, because that's human nature. But having that inner belief that you do, despite everything, I think that's why it's brought you through all of those moments when people have tried to do you wrong. And honestly, your work is exceptional, and just keep going, Charlie.
I will. I mean, especially like, you know, this year's been pretty rubbish. Yeah, it's been pretty rubbish, and nothing to do with the pandemic either. But yeah, it's Mum and Dad just taught me well. That's why, you know, they did.
The power of the mind, and having clarity of where you want to go, having clarity of what your intention is, and set your laser focus on it, and don't be diverted. But be you, have the integrity. It's been fascinating. I've loved chatting to you, and I know
I'm going to look. I'm just having a little look, because I can't.
Having a little look because she's got the wrong glasses on, so she's having a little look at the chats at the sidebar and having a few little messages back.
I know, they're all cool. Thank you, everyone. I appreciate that.
Yeah, you are an absolute inspiration, and I hope that man who tried, like all of us, we've all got one of those in our background.
I know.
I had, when I was doing A-level English, that they said to me, "You'll never pass," you know. I was like, oh, and that for me is a challenge. You just let me run the gauntlet.
I had that when I was doing the French polish, and I was doing one of my exams. They put me in for the wrong exam. They put me in for a H&D exam. I'd never done that. It's a 2-year course, and the tutor said to me, you know, it's a 2-year course. You're never going to learn it in 4 weeks. And I said, all I need to do is pass, because I don't want to have fail on my paperwork. And with my chief engineer and the HR assistant, they got me and I passed it. And I went in there and he said, my students failed and you passed. What am I doing for 2 years? I said, well, it's just determination.
It is. It's in here. Because I lived a long time thinking I was an idiot because someone told me I was not going to I had no intelligence, and yet I managed to pass a master's degree. How did I do that? So once I switched here and said,
I think sometimes it's the mindset. Once you've once you've switched it, and then you go, right, okay, fine, this is what I'm going to do, this is how I'm going to be focused, and then you go, right, I'm going to go down this road, and you know what, if it may not be jolly at the end of it, but I shall make it jolly. It'll be fine.
It will, absolutely. That's why we're doing in May, we're doing our confusion to clarity challenge, because everybody needs that opportunity to get the clarity of where they want to put their laser focus. So we're going to take you on a 5-day journey to get you the clarity, because once you've got the clarity, and we're going to look at habits and procrastination and everything.
Oh, I'm rubbish with procrastination. I'd like, you know.
You can come on the 5-day challenge. We'll talk to you about procrastination.
Thank you so much, everyone, for saying such kind words. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no.
I was so nervous.
You have been a joy. You've been an absolute joy, Charlie, and I've absolutely loved it. And tomorrow we've got Jeremy Bear, and we're going to see some films tomorrow. So that's exciting. Yeah.
And then when have you got the lady doing the stone carving?
Jane Cowan is on Thursday. So
okay, cool.
But that is I've already recorded that. So that will premiere on the website. And then on Friday, you're testing me now, aren't you?
Yeah.
Friday is Jane Cordery.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, we've got a lovely week ahead of us. But thank you, really. I mean, so generous in your sharing and in your honesty. I think that's the thing that's touched me most. You've been so honest, and I think that's amazing, because it's difficult to do in front of an audience. So thank you so much.
And now I've got to put the sofas back.
Now you've got to put the sofas back and let the cat back in.
No, the cat's in. He's already investigated the fact that, you know, things aren't right. And my husband can come home because I've locked the front door.
See, this is what we tell them to do. Lock the front door, turn the answer machine off. No, well,
thank you, everyone. I appreciate it. Thanks, Lesley.
You are an absolute star, Charlie. Thank you
you
so much. Night, night.